about how to disable Citrix Workspace auto updates. So we have an entire blog article on this on our site that I will link to in the description. But first things first is, why would we want to disable auto updates? So obviously, if you're any kind of IT administrator, you probably know why, but the answer is that in general, updates are good. We want the latest security features, we want the latest bug fixes, but updates don't always work out. Sometimes they actually break things more than they fix them. So when you have hundreds of endpoints all running a known good version of Citrix Workspace, the last thing you want is to come in on a Monday and your help desk is being blown up because an update has happened over the weekend and it's gone bad and now everyone is down and out. So instead, we want to throttle that and be able to apply those updates when we are ready to release them, preferably test them on a test endpoint first, ensure everything's good, and then release them to your clients. So there's two ways to do this. The first is just by an install parameter. So what you're looking for here is the auto update check equals disabled. So that's the silent install switch that's going to tell your Citrix installation to not update automatically. So if you're doing a mass deployment with some kind of RMM tool, then this is definitely the way to go. And I will show you how that looks. So first thing is we need to download Citrix Workspace, of course. Citrix Workspace is free, at least the client app for Workspace is free. Of course, the infrastructure behind it is not. Now, all you have to do is go to the Citrix website. I'll leave a link again and look for the Workspace app page. Has all the downloads. Thing to note is I generally recommend going with the long-term service release. This is basically a stable version that is, being well maintained, known, working good across the vast majority of users. You could go for current release, but then you take a little bit more of a risk of, running into unforeseen issues and bugs and things like that. So I would generally go with long-term service release. So if you click on the latest version here, and we will download this file, accept license agreement. This is going to take a while. I've actually already downloaded it, so we will just pretend that that is finished. To install then, we'll open up an administrator command prompt with admin rights, and we will go to the location that we downloaded it in, and all we need to do is just start typing Citrix Workspace.exe, and we will copy our prompt here. And now, before I run this, I should mention, if you're using this as an example of how to install Citrix Workspace, there may be other install parameters you need, such as setting up a default storefront, if you want to enroll in the customer experience improvement plan, enhanced SSO, various other things. So don't take this as the word of law when it comes to install switches, but this is an example. So if we run that, that'll return quite quickly. It doesn't wait for the install to finish, but usually in a minute or two, it'll wrap up, and then you will actually have the Citrix Workspace icon appear here, and you are set to go. So, back to the blog article here, install parameters versus group policy. If you're just installing Citrix on one device, or you're very small, you don't use group policy or whatever the case may be, obviously this is what you want to go for. In most cases, you probably have a domain controller and are using group policy, so you want to probably go this way. Now, there's no harm in doing it both ways. In fact, that's actually what I do. Is when I deploy Citrix Workspace to our client endpoints, I use these install params that you see here, and then I also do it through group policy just to be certain that we're not going to get many unexpected updates. So to download the ADMX template, if you actually go back to the same page and you go down to admin tools here, and we will find Citrix ADMX, ADML templates, and we will download that, accept our license agreements again. You can see Citrix is still installing in the background there. That's totally fine. So what we're going to do is open up this file here. Excuse me, we actually want to extract that out. And so the proper way to install these ADMX templates is we will actually go to open up another window here. And this is, again, presuming you're on a domain controller, we're going to go to C, Windows, look for sysvol again. This is my example domain here. We're going to go to policies, and you should have a policy definitions folder here. If you don't, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and create it. So it's policy definitions. Make sure you spell it exactly like that. And we will open this up. And all we're going to do here is copy our ADMX files here. And then we need to copy the language file that we want. So I'm in the US, English, so I'm going to just copy, folder, this entire language folder over. So that's good. So now these ADMX templates should be loaded into your group policy editor. So when you go to open up group policy management here, we will create a new GPO and call it with whatever we want. No Citrix auto update. And again, make sure this is in the right organizational unit. This is just an example here. So we will edit this, and then we're going to go to computer configuration, policies, administrative templates, and perfect. We have Citrix components. So what we're going to do is open that up, Citrix Workspace, and let me blow this up so it's a little bit bigger for you. And Citrix Workspace updates is what we're looking for. So Citrix Workspace updates. So let's read here. You can see that by default, or excuse me, I should say not configured. If you don't configure this option, Citrix Workspace updates are going to happen automatically. So what we are going to do instead is set this policy to enable. We want the Citrix Workspace auto update policy to manual. Thing of note here, if you did leave this as an automatic update, you could choose LTSR, but that doesn't apply here because we're doing this manually. And then the defer counter, we can leave it as -1. That's all we need to do here. Apply that, close, and if you need to, you can change delegation and filtering and all that fun stuff. Otherwise, we can push out this update, and your Citrix Workspace installs will now no longer update automatically, or at least they should. So hope this was helpful.